End of the reading. The 18th of July, 1899, Volume 2. How Sacramental Jesus and the Soul Draw and Bind Each Other. It continues almost always in the same way. This time it seemed that in my heart there was Sacramental Jesus, spreading many rays in my interior from the Holy Host. Many threads were coming out of my heart, which intertwined with all those rays of light. It seemed to me that Jesus, with his love, was drawing all of my heart to himself, and my heart, with those threads, was drawing and binding all of Jesus to remain with me.
1900, Volume 3. The sins of the people fall upon them and cause their ruin. As I was in my usual state, I saw my adorable Jesus for just a little, all afflicted inside my heart, and I also saw many people committing many sins. These sins were setting out toward me to come to wound my beloved Lord, even inside my heart. But Jesus would push them away from himself, and they would come to fall upon the people themselves. And in falling upon them, they would form their own ruin, changing into many kinds of scourges over the peoples, such as to horrify the hardest hearts. Then, all grieved, Jesus told me, "My daughter, to what extent reaches the blindness of men? While they try to wound me, they wound themselves with their own hands."
End of the reading. The 18th of July, 1905, Volume 6. The soul must not open her interior to others, only to the confessor. As I was in my usual state, Blessed Jesus came for just a little and told me, "My daughter, when a confessor manifests to the souls his way of operating in their interior, he loses the drive to continue to operate, and the soul, knowing the purpose that the confessor has over her, will become negligent and nervous in her operating. In the same way, if the soul manifests her interior to others in revealing her secret, her drive will evaporate and she will be left all weakened. And if this does not happen when she opens herself to the confessor, it is because the power of the sacrament keeps the steam, increases the strength, and places its seal upon it." End of the reading.
1917, Volume 12. The soul who lives in the divine will lives in Jesus at his expense. Continuing in my usual state, I was trying to pour all of myself into the holy will of Jesus, and I prayed him to pour all of himself into me in such a way that I would no longer feel myself, but only Jesus. And Blessed Jesus came and told me, "My daughter, when the soul lives in my will, and everything she does in my volition, I feel her everywhere. I feel her in my mind, and her thoughts flow within mine. And as I diffuse the life of intelligence in the creatures, she diffuses herself together with me in the minds of creatures. And as she sees that I am being offended, she feels my pain. I feel her in my heartbeats. Even more, I feel one heartbeat for two inside my heart. And as my love pours into the creatures, she pours herself together with me and loves with me. And if I am not loved, she loves me for everyone to repay me in love, and she consoles me. In my desires, I feel the desire of the soul who lives in my will. In my works, I feel hers, and so with everything. Therefore, one can say that she lives at my expense." And I, "My love, you do everything by yourself and do not need the creature. Why, then, do you love so much that the creature live in your will and of your will?" And Jesus, "Indeed, I need nothing, and I do everything by myself. But in order to have life, Love wants its outpouring. Imagine a sun which needs no light. It is sufficient for itself and for others, but still, since there are other little lights, even if it does not need them, it wants them within itself for company, to pour itself out and to enlarge the little lights. What wrong would the little lights not commit if they refused? Ah, my daughter, when the will is alone, it is always sterile. When it is alone, love languishes and dies down. And I love the creature so much that I want her united with my will, so as to render her fecund and give her the life of love. And I find my outpouring, since I created the creature only to pour out my love, for nothing else. So this is all my commitment.
End of the reading. The 18th of June, 1926, volume 19. Why our Lord did not manifest the kingdom of his will when he came upon earth. My poor mind was thinking about what is written above, and my sweet Jesus continued on the same topic, telling me, "My daughter, see then the necessity for me not to give the kingdom of my will and not to make it known when I came upon earth. I wanted to test the creature once again. I wanted to give her things inferior to those which I gave her in creation, remedies and goods to heal her. In fact, when I created man, he was not ill, but healthy and holy. Therefore, he could very well live in the kingdom of my will. But as he withdrew from the supreme volition, he fell ill, and I came upon earth as the celestial doctor to see whether he would accept the remedies, the medicines for his illness. And after this test, then would I give him the surprise of manifesting the kingdom of my will, which I kept in my humanity prepared for him. Those who think that our highest goodness and infinite wisdom would have left man with only the goods of redemption, without raising him again to the original state in which he was created by us, deceive themselves. In that case, our creation would have remained without its purpose, and therefore without its full effect, which cannot be in the works of a God. At the most, we might let centuries pass and turn, giving now one surprise, now another, entrusting now one little good to the creature, now a greater one. We will act like a father who wants to give his property to his children, but these children have wasted much of the goods of their father. In spite of this, he is determined to give his property to his children, so he thinks of another device. He no longer gives large amounts to his children, but a little bit at a time, lira by lira. And as he sees that his children preserve that little, he keeps increasing the small amounts. Through this, they come to recognize the love of the Father and to appreciate the goods he entrusts to them, which they would not do before, when they had large amounts. This serves to strengthen them and to teach them how to preserve the goods received. So, once he has trained them, the Father confirms his decision and gives his property to his children. Now, this is how the paternal goodness is acting. In creation, I placed man in the opulence of goods, with no restriction at all, but only because I wanted to test him in something that did not cost him much. With an act of his will contrary to mine, he wasted all these goods. But my love did not stop. More than a father, I began to give him a little at a time, and before that, to heal him. Many times one uses more attention with a little than when he possesses great things. In fact, if one possesses great properties and they are wasted, there is always something from which to take. But if the little is wasted, he remains on an empty stomach. However, the decision of giving the kingdom of my will to man, I have not changed. Man changes. God does not change. Now things are easier because the goods of redemption have made their way. They have made known many surprises of my love for man, how I have loved him, not by the fiat alone, but by giving him my very life. though my fiat costs me more than my very humanity, because the fiat is divine, immense, eternal, while my humanity is human, limited, and has its beginning in time. However, not knowing in depth what the fiat means, its value, its power, and what it can do, the human minds let themselves be conquered more by all that I did and suffered in coming to redeem them, not knowing that under my pains and my death there was my fiat hidden, which gave life to my pains. Now, had I wanted to manifest the kingdom of my will, either when I came upon earth or before the goods of redemption would be recognised and for the most part possessed by creatures, my greatest saints would have been frightened, or would have thought and said, Adam, innocent and holy, was unable to live nor to persevere in this kingdom of endless light and of divine sanctity. How can we do it? And you yourself, how many times have you not become frightened? And trembling before the immense goods and the sanctity, fully divine, of the kingdom of the supreme fiat, you wanted to draw back, saying to me, Jesus, think of some other creature. I am incapable of this. You were not so much frightened by the suffering. Rather, many times you prayed me, you incited me to let you suffer. Therefore, my more than paternal goodness acted with you as with a second mother of mine. From her I hid my conception in her womb. First I prepared her, I formed her so as not to frighten her. And when the appropriate time came, in the very act in which I was to be conceived, then I made it known to her through the angel. And even though at first she trembled and was troubled, immediately she became serene again, because she was used to living with her God in the midst of his light and before his sanctity. So I have done with you. For many years and years I hid from you that I wanted to form this supreme kingdom in you. I prepared you, I formed you, I enclosed myself in you, in the depth of your soul, in order to form it. And when everything was done, I manifested the secret to you. I spoke to you about your special mission. I asked you in a formal way whether you wanted to accept living in my will. And even though you trembled and feared, I reassured you, saying to you, why do you trouble yourself? Have you perhaps not lived with me until now in the kingdom of my will? And you, serene again, would make more of a practice of the living in it, and I would delight in expanding evermore the boundaries of my kingdom, because it is established up to what point the creature must take possession of this kingdom, since its boundaries are endless and the creature is incapable of embracing them all, because she is limited. And I, my love, yet my fears have not completely ceased, and many times I am so frightened that I fear I might act like a second Adam. And Jesus, my daughter, do not fear. You have more help than Adam did. You have the help of a humanate God and all his works and pains as your defence, as your support, as your cortege, which he did not have. Why then do you want to fear? Rather be attentive to the sanctity that befits the living in this celestial kingdom, and on your happiness and fortune, because by living in it, one gaze of mine is enough for you. It is enough for you to hear one of my words alone to comprehend its goods, while for those who are outside, one can say that they understand only that the kingdom of my will exists. But as for what is inside of it, what it takes to comprehend it, they can just barely understand the alphabet of my will. End of the reading.
1929, Volume 26. Work of Jesus for the Kingdom of the Divine Will. While I was in the nightmare of the privation of my lovable Jesus, and most resigned, I wasn't even thinking that he might unveil himself to my little soul, making his short little visit to give me his sip of life so as not to let me succumb completely. All of a sudden, he moved in my interior, making himself seen, all intent and occupied on his work. And as he raised his eyes, sparkling with light, toward me, his eyes met with mine, and compassionating my affliction, he told me, my daughter, I am working in your soul continuously, And while working, I am finalizing so that nothing may be missing, solidifying to give to my work the divine stability and immutability, and waiting with invincible patience for my work to become known, so that all may know my great love, my great sacrifice, and yours, and the great good that if they want to, all can receive. What this is about is that this work of mine is the renewal of the whole creation. It is the centralization of all our works. It is to establish my divine will in the midst of creatures, operating and dominating in their midst. Whoever will know this, my work, will be a kingdom of mine. Therefore, I will have as many kingdoms for as many as are the ones who will know what I have done and said in the littleness of your soul. And fused together, they will form one single kingdom. So, my silence is centralization of more intense work that I'm doing in you. Therefore, if I speak to you, it is new work that I undertake, calling you together with the work, giving you knowledge of what we are doing, so as to place new tints of beauties, of magnificence, and of happiness in the kingdom of my divine will that creatures must possess. If I keep silent, I reorder, I harmonize, I confirm what I have done. Therefore, my silence must not be a cause of affliction for you, but occasion for more work in order to carry out the kingdom of my divine will.
End of the reading. The 18th of July, 1938, volume 36. How beautiful it is to see the creature in the divine will. How created things are waited to love their creator. The exuberant love of God for those who live in it. My flight in the divine will continues. It is as if its power and immensity feel the need of the company of its beloved creature to take her everywhere it is. As it finds its works, it pauses to tell her the different story of each work and the diversity of love that animates them. It delights so much in manifesting the source, the speciality of its works, that not only does it donate these works to those who listen, but it celebrates the works together with them. Now, while my mind was surprised and enchanted, my always adorable Jesus, surprising me, told me, "My blessed daughter, there is an enchantment more beautiful, delighting our Supreme Being, than seeing the creature enter our will. As she enters, she takes us as if in her arms, and she clothes herself inside and outside with our divine being. We, in return, take her in our arms to enjoy her. Oh, how beautiful it is to see her, little but beautiful, little but powerful, little but wise, little but strong, to the extent that she can carry her Creator. There is nothing in which she is not similar to us. So just by entering our will, she acquires and wears our divine qualities. With the right given by us, she takes ownership of all, giving herself to all, loving all, wanting love for us from all. Seeing a creature who wants everybody to love us is the purest joy for us, the most beautiful, the greatest one. We can really hear our echo. We want everyone to love us. We love everyone. And if many don't love us, we feel offended and deprived of our rights as Creator. Father, who loves his children very much. Therefore, we feel recreated by this creature, finding in her our same follies of love. How not to love her? To her our first kiss, to her our squeezing hugs. The love tricks we make up for her are unheard of, and the more we love her, the more we want to love her. Jesus kept silent for a little, then he added, "My daughter, all created things await you. But do you know why? Because, thanks to my fiat that animates all, they feel their union with you, their inseparability from you. And since the creature has the supremacy, they all await you in their midst, so that together with the creature, they can glorify and love us, each one according to the office assigned by us. Each created thing possesses the fullness of its own good. The sun possesses the fullness of the light, and each act of light it produces, each effect and good it unleashes from its womb of light, is like a continuous little sonata of glory and love that it gives to us. But it doesn't want to give it alone. Rather, it wants the one for whom it has been created. Only then are we truly loved and glorified. When the creature animated by our will flows into that act of light, loving and glorifying us with the love and glory of light. So we feel our purpose, the reason for which we created light, when we find the creature hidden inside that light, loving us with the fullness of the heat and light. We find in her love that wounds us, love that sweetens us, love that always says, love. Therefore, we place the sun in the power of the creature to love us. But if we don't find the creature in the created things, we are not happy. They remain like instruments with no sound or life. At the most, we love and glorify ourselves, but it is not the creature loving us and glorifying us. So our purpose fails. The wind is waiting for you, for your voice to flow in its whispers, waiting to feel your whispering love toward its creator. Oh, how honoured it feels when all see in the impetuosity of the wind your impetuous love, almost prevailing towards the one who created it. It blows, it breathes, invested by your I love you. And as we feel your love breathing, we breathe love to you, to be loved more. The air that all breathe is waiting for you to be animated by your voice. So in the air everyone inhales, they receive the I love you of their creator. In the air they exhale, your I love you runs to bring us within its womb, every life, every breath changed into as many loving voices. All created things wait for you to receive the new life of love brought by the soul who lives in my will. Even the saints, the angels, the very Queen of Heaven await to receive the freshness and the joy of the love operating in the creature. Although the soul is on earth, she lives with their same will, and they are as if watered by the love of this happy creature. They feel the new love from which my will has filled her, investing all. They feel the joy of the conquering love she bears. My daughter, what order, what harmony, one who lives in my will establishes between heaven and earth. All her acts, thought, motions, and thoughts turn into voices, sounds, and harmonies that, investing all created things, make everyone say they love us. And as we remain loved, all of them together with us are loved with a new love. The whole heaven remains enraptured in seeing the wonders, the sweet enchantment of those who live in our divine fiat. Now you must know that my love is not satisfied if I don't do and give new surprises of love to one who lives in my will, and if I don't add new things to reveal to her. So, my daughter, my celestial Father generated me when I loved you and I loved him. And in that love, I loved you too, because my will was bringing you along, always present. I generate continuously, and in the ardour of our love as Father and Son, the Holy Spirit proceeded. In that ardour, I also loved you from a continuous love. I created the whole creation, and for each thing I was creating, I loved you first, then I created it, laying it to your service. Even in the love between me and my Heavenly Mother, I love you. Oh, how much I loved you in the incarnation in her virginal womb. I loved you in each breath, each motion, each tear. My will had you present, so that I loved you and you received as a gift from me my breathing, my tears, my motion. My love for the creature who was going to live in my will reached the extent that even in doing graces and in loving my saints, in that same love, she was enclosed. I can say that I loved you always. I loved you in everyone and in everything. I loved you at all times. I loved you in every place. I loved you everywhere. Oh, if everybody knew what it means to live in my will and the seas of love and graces by which they are inundated. A God who loves with love always knew, as in our divine being, we keep our divine and predominant passion, that the creature live in our will, so it would become the creature's predominant passion, and so that at any cost they would give their life to live in that fiat that loves them so much. End of the reading. There are no more readings today.